A new one?
Yep, so this is, we got live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got record. So you hit that, record there, if it's flashing.
Stop it. So we're good to go now. Everything's
Yep,
live,
it
so
should be
how
recording,
do I
yep.
stop that?
You just hit it, and
There
then
we
I
go.
think it goes yellow, and it might flash for a couple minutes, but.
And then
And I
I'll
don't have to
green.
do anything up here.
Nope.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen.
No problem. And then right here, so these are the two main,
It got turned down last
yeah,
time?
so
Okay.
you put a little mark there.
Gotcha. So it's there, it's quick.
Yep,
All right.
or should be,
But he's not gonna do that again.
hopefully not.
Thanks, guys.
And a problem.
All right, we're live.
Live. And now being slightly after 3 o'clock, we can call the June 21st, 2023 meeting of the Laconia Police Commission to order. Would you please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As the minutes show, that recording secretary, executive assistant Lori Marsh is present. Do a roll call, Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Mello.
Yeah.
Commissioner Woodham is here, and we therefore have a quorum. We'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to recognize Chief Canfield sitting at the table. Since we have a quorum, we will proceed with the agenda. Personnel matters, commendations and awards, Chief Canfield.
Nothing.
Resignations and retirement.
We did have one resignation of a probationary patrol officer that was in training, and he decided that the job was no longer for him and resigned on his own accord.
Promotions and classification changes, Chief Canfield.
Nothing.
Excuse me, command and staff reports, support division, Chief Canfield.
So they've been working on a number of new grant initiatives. They're working on submitting 5 community grant applications for a community policing project. Once we secure the funding for that, I'll certainly outline the project in greater detail. We were awarded a burn jag grant from the Department of Justice in the amount of $11,000. So they're working to do the award paperwork for that, and that will be for police equipment. They're working on the bid process and acquiring 3 new patrol vehicles. These 3 vehicles were approved as part of the capital improvement program with the approval of our budget at the end of last month. They've been working on a number of grant maintenance items, wrapping up grants and grant reporting, as well as working on wrapping up some of the tech projects that we embarked upon last year. And lastly, they'll begin work this fall on a server replacement, which runs our entire computer mainframe, which was funded through the capital improvement program this year as well.
Any questions? Orders and bulletins, you've all read those. Operations division, Chief Canfield.
They've been busy. They wrapped up the motorcycle debriefing. They're working on the fall schedule, as well as the bidding process, which will hopefully be out the week after next. National Night Out is scheduled for August, starting at 5 o'clock at O-Pee-Chee Park. We hope to make this a really big event, like it was last year, so we put a request in to bring the DART helicopter in, as well as the National Guard helicopter, so plus a lot of other events like we did last year. And then the 4th of July weekend was uneventful overall, due to primarily the weather, so. is it for operations.
Any questions? Anything on the hiring, chief?
We do have one background that was just completed. I've yet to review it, and then we'll be presenting it to the police commission next month for consideration of hire. We also are in the process of wrapping up a background investigation on a dispatcher position. There is a Great Bay test that's coming up the beginning of next month that we'll be sending a number of officers down to the recruitment event, and hopefully be able to secure some good applicants out of that process.
Questions, comments? Moving on to commission action. You've all had a chance to read and review the minutes from the previous meeting.
I make a motion, we accept the meeting, minutes of the as written and with corrections made.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion made by Commissioner Mello was seconded by Commissioner Davis, and it passes unanimously. The meeting minutes of June 21st were accepted as distributed with some minor corrections. Review of monthly activity reports. Chief Canfield.
For the month of June, we responded to a total of 2,389 calls for service, conducted 95 park walking talks, 270 extra patrol requests, 9 community policing events, investigated 373 criminal offenses, resulted in the arrest of 173 of those cases, 113 of which were physical custody arrests. We took 6 people into custody for DWI, took 40 people into custody for intoxication. Those numbers were primarily driven by Motorcycle Week. Responded to a total of 25 domestic disturbances, 87 other disturbances, 10 suicidal subjects, and investigated 10 violation restraining orders. And volunteers in the Victim Services Unit donated 8 hours of volunteer time for the month.
Just
Questions?
question, yeah. For DWIs, do you take everybody under custody that gets a DWI or charged with DWI, or is that?
Yes, if they were investigating, there was probable cause to arrest them for DWI, they would be taken into custody.
They get arrested, are they held or are they released?
If we can find a sober party to release them to and take custody of them, they would be released. If we couldn't, they would be taken into custody for intoxication, held until they were sober.
Other questions? Moving on, budget printouts. Chief Canfield.
We're wrapping up end of year budget report numbers from last year. I anticipate it to be under budget. When we get the final numbers, I will get them to you. And then obviously this year began a new budget cycle with the start of July 1st, so.
I can't remember a time when the department ever was over the budget.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job. I mean, some things are uncontrollable, but for the most part, we do a pretty good job in keeping the budget in line.
Questions, comments? Monthly fleet report. Chief Canfield.
Nothing on the fleet report unless you have specific questions. As I noted, we are in the process of acquiring 3 new vehicles as part of the capital improvement approval as of July 1st.
Chief, you did have commission action for officer to attend.
I did. It was a out-of-state training request that I just received. It's for Detective Steve Orton and Detective Eric Adams to attend the 2023 COSUP National Forum Championing the Power of Recovery and Hope. The COSUP grant is, as you may recall, is what funded Eric's position to bring the program statewide, as well as a couple other positions. As part of that grant program, they were requested to attend this training program being held in Arlington, Virginia from August 28th to September 1st. There is no cost to it, or to us anyway. The costs are being picked up, including flight and everything, by the COSUP grant.
Entertain a motion to.
Make a motion to approve the request for out-of-state training.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wish them Godspeed on that. trip to Virginia, right?
That's right.
Nice. Moving on, monthly fleet report, Chief Canfield.
Nothing on the fleet
Nothing.
report?
Okay. Correspondence to and from the department, Chief Canfield.
We received a nice thank you letter from the Elm Street School to Lieutenant Hubbard and Officer Bassett. They did their field day during the week of Motorcycle Week outside and did a bunch of games for the kids outside. And Lieutenant Hubbard and Officer Bassett built a wooden stand for one of our radar speed boards. And it was pretty ingenious. Basically created a running course so kids could compete against each other, see how fast they run, and it was picked up on the speed board. So, a lot of fun. I know a couple of the officers were over there and they were racing against the kids in uniform, so. And then we had a nice thank you letter from a woman thanking us for all we do.
Nice. Questions or comments? Moving forward, Chief report.
So I participated in the Jack Heath radio show right after Motorcycle Week. We did a nice wrap-up news radio report on that. The Jack Heath radio show has been a great partnership, especially during Motorcycle Week. You can get safety messaging out there as well as some of the community concerns about policing. I attended the Robert Harrington commemoration of his 50 years of service to Laconia Housing Board of Directors at Sunrise Towers. It was a really nice event, and they dedicated the campus to him. There's a nice sign on the front of Sunrise Towers, so really nice event. Met with Congressman Chris Pappas during the course of the month. We had a great conversation about policing and current events in Laconia as far as policing goes and national policing events, and he's been a real supporter of this department in particular, but certainly law enforcement throughout the state, so that was great to connect with him. Following up on our request for $25,000 in county ARPA funds, I did a presentation to the entire delegation on the e-bikes. After discussion, they voted to approve the transfer of $25,000 of the county ARPA funds to us. So there's still a little bit more in the approval process that has to go, and then it'll have to be accepted by the city council, but that'll be used to fund the e-bikes, so certainly good news on that front. I attended a day-long training or meeting with the Joint Terrorism Task Force and the U.S. Attorney's Anti-Terrorism Advisory Council at the Federal Building in Concord. Today we participated in an event at the Belknap Mill at Rotary Park. It was called Kids in the Park. Turnout was not as what we had hoped for, but there were certainly a number of kids down there, and they got to tour the command post and see the motorcycle and the drone and some other police equipment, so that was a fun event. Monthly overview of Spider Tech. I will actually distribute this to you. They're in the process. I was on a Zoom call this morning where they're gonna have a much better quarterly report on this. But essentially, 4.49 people out of 5 are satisfied with professionalism of the communications personnel, and then 4.57 of 5 were satisfied with the police department response time. So some really good numbers here that I will submit to you. Total overdose statistics for the year, 26 year to date, and 3 suspected overdose fatalities. And then there were 58 line of duty deaths across the nation, year to date.
You had commented earlier about the 19-year-old in Vermont.
Yeah, it was very tragic. You know, it was right next door in Vermont. 19-year-old police officer just got hired. They were responding to a burglary in progress, and it led into a pursuit, and she was tragically killed. So kind of hits home. You know, it's a New England state, and certainly 19 years old is way too young to go.
I
So
didn't think they hired him that young.
yeah, that is young.
Yes.
No. sad.
Yeah, it is.
Questions? Moving on to old business. Chief, anything on the old business?
Nothing,
New business?
nothing,
Other business?
nothing.
Citizen comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to confirmation of the next meeting date, August 16th, 2023.
Jeez. August already.
Okay, August 16th it is. I guess it's time for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second that?
Motion made by Commissioner Mello, seconded by Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. The meeting is adjourned at 3:19 PM.